Colour is undoubtedly one of the most important elements of packaging design. Research shows that 52% of consumers first notice the colour on packaging way above anything else. The right use of colour in packaging can instantly guide consumers to a brand and convey key product qualities. When used strategically and consistently, colour is an impactful visual shortcut that builds brand recognition. However, the wrong colour choice can have the opposite effect. So in this podcast, I wanted to cover some of the best practices and also the watch-outs when working with colour in packaging design. So this week, we're going to be looking at colour. And one brand in particular that has always handled colour really, really well is Tiffany. That sort of blue aqua colour that they own is absolutely fantastic. It pops in everything they do and automatically links back to the parent brand, whether you see it on packaging, you see it on signage, or you see it on the side of a bus. But the learnings that we're going to cover in this podcast can be attributable to any brand out there, anything in the supermarket. Some iconic brands like Tiffany & Co. have a signature colour that they use consistently across all their packaging, the advertising, merchandising and much more. This unique colour choice and consistency of use over time equates the brand with that specific colour in consumers' minds. When choosing a signature colour, brands have got to be careful to pick a hue that fully captures the essence and messaging of that brand. First and most important is the colour tone and alignment. The colour that's used in the pack should align with the broader brand story and the tone of voice and personality. So, for example, vibrant saturated colours tend to convey a fun and youthful spirit, while neutral earthy tones communicate more of a calmness and wholesomeness. Also, in packaging that lacks imagery, colour does a lot of the heavy lifting alongside typography. It's especially important in these cases that the colours selected connect back to the product qualities like taste and ingredients. Colours associated with appetizing foods or flavours can stimulate cravings or desires. And as I had in a previous post that I'd done on LinkedIn, where we looked at Sainsbury's potato salad product, picking that wrong colour next to a transparent window with a view through to the product can either make it look really zingy and attractive or incredibly unappetizing. Private label products don't often have established brand recognition to fall back on, and poor colour choices here can make items seem really unappealing, especially when competing visually against national, vibrantly coloured brands on shelves. Bland tones, like on the product I've just discussed, that don't work well with the product, especially if there's a product window, will lend themselves to a bland experience with the product itself. Using a colour that expresses a different tone than the brand story can confuse customers. So, for instance, a serious healthcare brand should avoid more fun and playful colours that undermine trust and credibility. But there can tend to be a balance of something that is a little bit more vibrant if you want to cue efficacy. Similarly, dull, lifeless colours for a treat product could fail to stimulate appetite appeal, so a careful balance needs to be struck. Something that happens often on the shelf is washout. If the pack looks bland and washed out, then so did the benefits. For example, yellow and white, or even white on yellow, is never going to give you shelf standout or legibility on pack. It's an issue that pops up often on packs that are lemon or banana flavour. In these instances, you have to be really clever with how you utilise the colour. Yellow is much better utilised as a background colour to an environment or holding shape, with a bolder colour copy, a more contrasting colour copy instead of white inside it, gives it much more pop on shelf so that you can read it from a distance and also very easily when it's close up and you're holding it in your hand. Now, something I hear a lot is, yeah, but a bright colour really stands out. And you can't rely on a bright colour alone for shelf standout. Sure, a bright colour is going to give you standout at a fixture, but it's not the only weapon in the arsenal. Once you catch a consumer's attention, you've then got to entice them in and tell the story. If it was only about bright colours, you'd have premium whiskies and wines in fluorescent greens and pinks, and clearly you don't, and there's a good reason for that. This choice of colour also has to tell a credible and relevant story for the brand. It needs to work as part of the design system, part of the storytelling. But that's not the only issue. We've noticed a few clients are moving to CMYK now for their print for cost-saving reasons. Now, whilst this may seem more cost-effective strategy, and I completely understand that part, it can come with a few pitfalls. Some colours are incredibly tricky to hit using CMYK printing, such as bright oranges and greens. Whilst printing capabilities have got much better over the recent years, it's important to bear this in mind before making the switch, especially if your brand colour relies on them. Printing on different substrates and utilising different finishes and varnishes can have an impact on the end colour. Different substrates will take up different colours very differently. So even though you've chosen the same Pantone colour on a flexible pouch, this may look very different when you print it on its carton board equivalent. Strategic use of colour in packaging design visually primes consumer perceptions. It guides purchasing behaviours and builds familiarity and loyalty for brands over time. So some of the key points. 52% of consumers first notice colour on packaging before anything else. The colour used on the pack design has got to align with the broader brand story, the tone of voice and the personality. If the pack looks bland and washed out, then so do the benefits. And some colours are really tricky to replicate if you're using CMYK printing. By keeping best practices around choice of signature colour and messaging alignment, brands can leverage the power of colour for packaging for maximum effect. Well, that's it. That's a wrap, as they say. I hope you found it informative. If it adds value, then please do subscribe. I'm Al, owner and creative director of Slice Design. You can follow me on my LinkedIn page, which is linkedin.com/in/Alan Gilbody, or you can follow us on our company website, which is slicedesign.co.uk. So until next time, have a fantastic week and keep well.